All right, let me get connected on this. Hello, you guys. Welcome to our Wednesday accountability Zooms. I'm also live on my Instagram because I wanted to show you guys just a little preview into what we do on Wednesdays. In the beginning, I'll be talking a little bit, Ashley will be talking a little bit, and then we're going to turn off the recordings and we're going to get more into talking amongst ourselves into our goals and all that good stuff. But thank you guys for being here with us on Instagram. My handle is glow_with_Hannah too. And when Ashley goes, she'll say hers too. But this is something that we started this year that we put together because we have been really focused on goals. And these are like personal goals in our lives. At the beginning of the year, we were reading the book Atomic Habits, or I guess at the end of 2021, we were reading Atomic Habits together. And it really got into the science between starting new habits, stacking habits, holding yourself accountable for following through, which is something that we're all working on, whether we have one thing we're trying to implement or whether we have a number of things, which we'll get into, but Ashley and I do have a number of things. This is actually our third call in this little series. So we did one to start off 2021 where it was at the beginning or at the end of December. We did a reflection on the year. We answered some different questions. We did some journaling. We did some sharing. And then we dove into the second call talking about what we wanted to implement this year. And we talked about a number of different categories. There's 9 of them. And I will get into it in a bit, but I just wanted to start off by introducing us. This is a call put on by Hannah, Ashley, and our upline, sideline staff. And we are AIM. It's Aim to Inspire Millionaires. It's our little group, our downline, our sidelines. And we wanted to do this for us, but we also wanted to open it up to other people that we know, other people in this business, but also eventually add in our downlines to it. Ashley has been inviting her downlines. We have more people in our organization who are most likely looking for something like this. And you don't only have to work in the business with us in order to join in these calls. Anybody who wants to focus on setting goals, checking in. Although I am on Instagram right now doing a little preview, so I'm kind of going through the whole thing. It's actually really relaxed. I will always talk at the beginning a little bit. Ashley's probably going to talk a little bit in the beginning, but it's always going to be focused on different ways to check in on our goals, to share how we're doing. I think it's just a nice outlet to have. It's a nice space to hold for people who are looking for something like this, because having a group or a person to hold you accountable for your goals is something that will help you to achieve them. And I wanted to get into beginning with talking about a podcast that I was listening to. If you guys know me, you know that I love Rob Dial, and I chose this one because I knew that we were going to be talking about goals in this Wednesday call. So I was just looking for something that aligned, and I found one that says a simple strategy to help you. I'm pretty sure it's called Achieve Your Goals. And he was talking about Pearson's law, which is something that I had actually not heard about. But Pearson was the guy his name's Carl Pearson. He is distinguished to having, developed the discipline of statistics. So he was a mathematician, probably a freaking genius. And he created statistics. And he said in the sense of science and math and even business that you are more likely to reach a goal when you are doing 2 things: when you are keeping track of the goal, when you are checking in on it often, but not only are you reflecting on it often, you're actually tracking it and writing it down so that you can continue to follow along with it, which it was so crazy that I found this today because this is literally what we're doing, Ashley. And Ashley's word of the year is accountability. So it just feels like everything that we're finding is really like weaving together perfectly with what we did with Atomic Habits, with what we're just trying to create the beginning of this year. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So Pearson Law says that he goes on to say that like having an accountability buddy will cover that if you guys are really taking the time to like measure your performance, to reflect and to write it down, then mathematically or scientifically, you are way more likely to actually reach your goals. And I mean, that's like at a really mathematical level. I think just in general, we know that if you're taking time to reflect on your goals often, you're much more likely to reach them. He gave an example of weight loss. I really don't want to give a weight loss example, so I thought of my own example. But I was thinking about the example of like, if you wanted to run a marathon, you could say at the beginning of the year, I want to run a marathon, or I want to be able to run a marathon's length. I wish that I knew exactly. I think it's 28 miles. So you could say at the beginning of the year, I want to be able to run 28 miles straight. But if you say that at the beginning of the year, and then in October, you go out on a run and you try to run 28 miles, even if you've been running each day, if you haven't really been taking the time to set like smaller lengths of how far you're going to run, you know, in the beginning, you're going to start by running just a few miles, especially if you don't run at all. But if you don't keep track of that and continue to challenge yourself, continue to go on longer runs, continue to take different routes or whatever it is to make sure that through the year you get there, you know, if you just go out random and run each day, you might like actually only go a mile each day and you don't even track that. And then like you sign up for a marathon and then you can't run very far at all because you haven't done all of that like tracking work. So that's just one example. But, you know, with one of the articles I read about Pearson's Law, it was talking about ensuring the performance in your business. So I think that as this space continues to grow and mold, you know, I feel like we can sprout out in so many different ways when it comes to talking about like checking in on goals, holding yourselves accountable. But I do think that we could also use this to talk about business and using this information to also keep track of our goals within Monate. So, you know, it's a little bit of both. So can I get into a little bit about like the goals that we set and then dang, you guys, I got kicked out.
I was wondering, I was like, I think she froze.
I think it was my connection. It just kicked me out, but at least it let me join again really soon. So I'm going to share the categories that we talked about, but I really want to talk about this idea of actually tracking your goals because we have set, her background, she's all up in space. We have set intentions for the year, and I kind of want to talk for a few minutes about like what we set and how it's different between an intention and a goal. And doing what we're doing now each week with this space and like actually taking the time to journal and write it down is what takes it to the next level. But you guys know in Atomic Habits, it talks about the different parts of forming a habit. So I feel like that plays a lot into what we're trying to do. Like one of my goals is to meditate more often. And I want to actually like today with my Wednesday, I'm going to sit down right now and I'm going to go back and be like, how many days since last Wednesday did I meditate? And I'm actually going to take this time on Wednesdays to check in on these things because throughout the week, I feel like things get crazy and you think that you're going to go into your journal each week and like check off what you're doing each day. But the reality of it is that like life takes over and I do it too. I like have my planner and I'm going to show you guys like how I write down the goals for each month and each week. But like I have some weeks where I write down everything. And then I have some weeks where I don't write down anything. And I have like 3 or 4 weeks where I don't. And I noticed I did that in 2021, all the time, I can literally look through my journal and look at the months and see the months that I fell off because I wasn't writing down what I was doing each day. I wasn't writing down my goals at the beginning of the week. So that's what this Wednesday space is for. And the areas that we set goals in. And then Ashley, you can go and just like, I'll be done in a minute or two. What we set goals in the areas is we talked about family, we talked about career, we talked about setting like a spiritual goal. It could be religion if you're religious, or like I just call it meditation. I do other things for my spirituality too, but that's your own, you know, kind of personal. Home, because we've been working with our atomic habit goals of like, at least for me, one of my goals was around the house, making sure that I am doing the dishes before I go to bed each night, making sure that I'm setting up my clothes the morning before work. So that's what I've been working on. And I'm going to go back and like review how I've been doing this week so far, you know. We've been talking about financial goals, mental goal. For me, my mental goal is like a morning routine. It can be like a mindset thing, you know. A social goal, like for us personally, because we're in the business, but also like because we want to make more friends, like in our areas, just in general, we're trying to get ourselves out there, get out of our comfort zones, and like whether or not they want to work with us, just our whole goal is to inspire you no matter what you're working on. You know, I have like these 10 different categories. You might have one category and that's cool. You can still come to this and reflect. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I have a business goal, a physical goal, which is exercise. Like actually mine is to get outside in nature. I've said like years and years to go to the gym, but I think like getting myself outside is more important. And then a mental goal, which is our book club. So we're just kind of building the systems right now to help ensure that this goes beyond January, that this goes beyond the second week of January, because like maybe I feel organized now, but I know that like come February, come the middle of March, like we fall off, you know, we're humans, it happens. So this is our space. Whoever is welcome. And yeah, I think that I covered everything in the introduction. I'm going to stop my live right here on IG first, Ashley. But if you guys would like to join any of these meetings, we're having it every Wednesday, 5:30. It'll be probably, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour. You don't have to stay the whole time. You don't have to unmute and share, but I'm always going to stop my recording. Well, we're always going to stop our recording halfway through so that like part of it we will share, but part of it we want it to be private because we are going to get into our own goals and we want it to feel like that space. So thank you. Ashley?
That was awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so some of the things I wanted to kind of touch base with, because I'm really working hard on accountability, was the biggest thing, and it kind of fell into like a trickle of different areas into my life. But something that I was on a call with Trent Shelton, and he said, pick a theme, like a word, like a theme to be like a goal, not really say this year I want confidence, right? That's going to be like my goal. I'm going to get confidence in my business. I'm going to get confidence in myself. I'm going to build that, right? But right now my main focus is accountability. I think I might change it actually every month, because how I'm kind of moving in my goals is I'm really like, I'm meeting it and I'm like, okay, that's now officially something I do every single day, because if I don't do it, I literally feel like I can't go to sleep because I didn't do the things that I promised myself that I need to do, you know? So 4 steps to accountability that I found that really have helped is mustering the courage to overall just see it, awareness, and like being truthfully like real with myself, because I mean, this isn't recorded, so we can really get into it. When other people were to tell me things about what I'm doing, I would take them. What is it recording? That's okay. Whatever.
You want me to stop? You want me to stop it?
No. Whatever. We'll keep going. So like, you know, some of the things that people would say, because I'm pretty vulnerable on here anyway. So if you guys don't want to share, we won't be vulnerable with that. But I don't really care. So mastering the see it. So I kind of realized that I allowed my pride to really get into things when I'm like, no, I'm not going to ask for help because I can just do it, or no, I'm not going to do this. And so I've been asking my mom, like, okay, so how do you do that? Like, how do you go about budgeting yourself, right? That's another thing I was trying to work on, was budgeting. So holding myself accountable to my budget. How the heck am I going to do that? That's literally what I was thinking, right? So now I'm asking myself these questions. After being aware, I'm asking myself these questions. And so I made a Google Docs, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to list out all my bills. I'm going to list the days that it's supposed to be coming out. And then I'm going to list the day I'm going to try to make that payment, right? And then every paycheck that and then like at the very bottom of it, I have it like a checkbook. So I have it like what's coming in, and then I deduct the things that I know what's coming in. Like if you're working, you kind of have an idea of what is to be expected. I know some checks can be a little less, a little more, but you want to give yourself like a minimum of what you're bringing in each week, right? So I did that, and to me, that's been holding me accountable. Like we just got our first check, and I'm able to go, okay, no, that's not on the list, so we can't actually pay for that right now. And if we really want that, we really, really want it. Okay, let me look at the list real quick and let me see what I can move around. So that way I know where I'm like standing at, because before like I was saying, I know how to make the money. I know how to just pay the money. Like when a bill was due, I was paying it, but I was like, okay, now I'm like short because I didn't plan it right. So this is allowing me to like plan things. Number 2 in accountability. So mastering the courage to see it. Number 2 is finding the heart to own it. That kind of goes into what I was saying. They're playing games. The next thing that I was going into. And the third thing is obtaining the wisdom to solve it. So if you don't know, I'll go slow. I'll repeat them one more time. The first one was see it. So mastering the courage to see it. That's like going deep down and really like being raw with yourself. Like, okay, what am I doing? Where am I at? Right? So awareness. Number 2 is finding the heart to own it. Being real with yourself. Like as if you are your best friend, right? Because if you were your best friend, you would be telling them, girl, like he is not good for you. Why are you with him? Right? Like, why are you eating that when you just said like you were trying to like stop eating dairy? Like we're accountabilities. When we speak things into out to other people, this is why I love this platform right here. When we speak things out to each other, we're holding each other to a higher standard, because we know the things that can get done, right? When we hold ourselves accountable to them. So that was the second one, is owning it. Finding the heart to own it. Number 3 was obtaining the wisdom to solve it. So trying to go out of your way to find it. That's asking a mentor, that's finding a coach, that's looking it up on Google, reading a book about it, right? And then exercising the means to do it. Literally just 5 seconds of you looking up what you're trying to change is already you moving forward. Doesn't need to be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, whatever time that you start to do that, the needle is pushing. So I started to focus on that, see it, own it, solve it, do it. And then my follow-up to that was how do I beat, because the thing I was dealing with was procrastination. So how do I beat my procrastination? So I found this really good list, and it's been helping me out because I tend to get overwhelmed. I get like anxiety over like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to finish this on time. But it's really managing your time and breaking it down to, like, if it's a big project, breaking things down into smaller projects, right? Where you can get it done. Say you have to write a paper. The paper is supposed to be 10 pages long and it's due in 2 weeks. Break that down to 5 pages a week, right? How much shorter can you get that? You can break that 5 pages down to a page a day. How can you break that page down? Okay, I'm going to work on this every 2 hours and I'm pretty much going to get the page done a day, right? So you just break your goals and break the things that you're trying to do. Not even goals, just like genuinely just need to do, right? Because I mean, I procrastinated. Literally, I had the laundry sitting on my bed and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do the laundry right now. I stood up and did the dishes. And as I'm doing the dishes, I literally checked myself. I'm like, why are you doing the dishes right now? I'm like, you're going to finish them and you're going to go in there and you're going to do the laundry. Because I realized I was doing that to myself. So I owned up that and I was like, all right, I'm procrastinating. Why am I procrastinating? So I looked up some step-by-step guide to getting rid of procrastination. It breaks it down into 8 different ways. So if you guys want some of this, Hannah, do you think you could type it in the chat for us as well? I think that's been really, really helpful, to be honest. And I'll go slow. Okay, so the first one is to create a to-do list with specific deadlines. We talked about this in Atomic Habits, where when you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to go wash my face when I brush my teeth in the morning before I go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. You are breaking it down. You're giving it a place, a time. You can even add it with something you already do. Habit stacking, again, something we talked about in Atomic Habits. Number 2, breaking bigger projects into manageable chunks. That's what I was kind of talking about before. If you're needing to write 10 pages, break it down in 2 weeks, break it down per week, break it down per day, break it down per however you want to, hourly or whatever you need to do it, right? Words maybe. Okay, number 3 is set aside the time and space for work. So something like Hannah used the example before, take the workout clothes. If she wants to go ride her bike, right? Take the clothes that she knows that she's going to ride her bike with, put them by the door before she goes out to work, right? And put her shoes there. So the minute she walks in the door, she's like, oh, right. I told myself I was going to go ride the bike today. So here's my stuff, boom, 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 right? Number 4 is remove distractions. So for me, a big distraction could be the dishes weren't done. So that's distracting me in order for me to do the laundry. Okay, I also told myself, Ashley, you're going to, after you're doing this distraction, you're going to go do what you need to go do. You know, tackle the hard stuff first, right? So, I mean, even though the laundry wasn't that hard, the dishes were harder to me. So I knew that was going to take up more time. I did the dishes first, went in here, folded the laundry while I watched my TV, and it was a reward to me as well. So I did 2 things, got a reward. Boom. Again, that's an Atomic Habits, is how you set up your new habits and your new goals, that you go ahead and reward yourself with them as well. Number 6 is do one thing at a time. Don't bombard yourself with doing so many different things in different rooms. If it's like, okay, I need to fold the laundry and I also need to make the kids' beds. Like, I need to do all these things. Make them attainable and in the same area. Or say I'm needing to write, but I also needed to make dinner, right? You can go into the kitchen, and while you're making dinner, make your dinner, and while it's resting or whatever it needs to be, a couple minutes right there, while you're waiting for the sauce to boil, whatever it is, right? You have the time. You have to realize where you can make that time at. And a lot of times our head, especially if we are so used to procrastinating, is, oh, we can put that off because I have time for that later. Oh, we can put that off because we have time for that later. But if you think about all of the times that you're going, okay, I'm just going to do this now and get it over with. First of all, you think things longer than you actually do them. You can literally think something off and put it off so far that it takes you maybe 5 minutes to fold those laundry, but it took me 45 minutes in my head of procrastination. Are you kidding me? Like, that doesn't make sense. Make that make sense. And then something I was just saying before with the Atomic Habits was reward yourself with breaks. So if you have, and also too, don't put a lot of things on your plate. Put what you can manage, what you don't normally do, right? Those are things that you don't even think about, but then you're going to add on to your list. Like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and run to the post office today. I'm going to do the laundry. I'm going to do the dishes and all this stuff, right? I'm already at the house, so I'm going to do all the stuff at the house. And then I'm going to do the last thing, which was go to the post office, because that's going to be the hardest thing to me, because I have to actually physically go out and do something. And then, so yeah, reward yourself with breaks, reward yourself with things. And then number 8, try the 2-minute rule. Set your alarm for 2 minutes and just go do whatever it is that you're procrastinating, and just go do that for 2 minutes. You'll either trick your own mind into thinking, oh, I can actually get this done in literally a couple more seconds. I might as well just finish it up. Or B, you literally will be like, okay, did 2 minutes of that. I'm good. And then your mind will be like, but it's not finished. It's not finished. It's not finished. I already started it. I might as well finish it. So you go there. Oh, you missed 6 and 7. 6 was do one thing at a time. And number 7 was reward yourself with breaks. So yeah, something I have been also loving is if you find a word that gets in your head, like, oh man, I'm struggling with procrastination. Oh, I'm struggling with being accountable with myself. Oh, I'm struggling with a morning routine. Oh, I'm struggling. You can literally Google it and you can find so many forums. You can find so many YouTubes. You can find so many podcasts. People have already been writing about these things. These are already issues that have been a thing, right? So if you just Google them, you can find a way to add that into a way of like, okay, I can change this habit this way. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about what I'm saying, let me know. These are just things that have been working for me to hold myself accountable and also to get myself to the goals of what I'm wanting to get to. Another thing that I was wanting to have as a goal, or what I've been doing, is just getting myself out there in more of a personal like way. So I was looking online because I was like, okay, how can I do this, right? How can I put myself out there, but like I also don't know how to put myself out there. So I was like, let me try to find places that I can donate my time. So I was looking at like the pantry place so I can help put food up in the pantry. There was a place to feed people and stuff like this. And I'm like, oh man, a lot of this requires me to be on someone else's time and like lift 50 pounds. I can't do, I literally can't do that right now with my leg. So I was like, all right, what's something else I can do? And I was like, oh, like I can have a beach day. So I literally was like, all right, I'm going to make a beach day. I'm going to go ahead and just like, we're going to clean it up and I'm going to have fun on the beach with my kids. Like win, 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 right? As I was starting to do all this, I started to like then get other people going, hey, I can help you out with that. Hey, I have things I could donate for that. Hey, we actually have trash bags I can give you. And like things just started kind of coming to me where I'm sitting here going, I don't know how I'm going to even do this, but I'm just going to start looking into it. So that's why I was saying in the beginning of just the 4 ways of holding yourself accountable is seeing it, owning it, solving it by like trying to find and obtaining that wisdom and then doing it. So you're always learning from it either way, you know, like you're not going to learn how to change something if you don't even just like try to change it in the first place. So try, if it doesn't succeed, if anything, you literally learned how, thanks babe, you literally learn what not to do and you can add that into the memory bank and be like, okay, move on, I can do something else. So that's what I'm doing. Let me know what you guys are up to and if you had any questions or if it resonated. And if you want, we can go ahead and stop recording so people can share.